You're not a clone. So if you want to do shiny, sparkly things, you're going to have to accept that you will have to think for yourself. And underneath all of this is a human universal that we all want to be liked, even if it's only by one other person or two other people or whole groups or populations of people. We want to be liked, we want to be included, we want to be approved of in certain ways. And it's an instinct that if you are going to break the mold, that you will have to grow out of. But the extraordinary thing with human nature, take what, the so-called woke people, and isn't it funny that in wanting to show how rebellious they are and what outliers they are, that they all end up with blue hair. And the thing is, they all end up with the same hairstyle because we always create new communities out of the callings that we're drawn to. So if you want a life that's truly extraordinary, you are going to have to face some initial discomfort. It's absolutely inevitable. But to me, it's so much, I've always kind of had an instinct to really question things, to be skeptical. And we believe that we're living in a time where, to speak truths against accepted falsehoods is this really dangerous thing. But it's always gone on. Heresy is not a new thing, and it goes back more than hundreds of years, and it probably goes back even further than thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, because we have phrases and we use them, but we don't actually know what they mean. And I don't know how popular this is in the rest of the world, but in England we have a phrase called henpecked. You've got, oh my God, he's such a henpecked husband, his wife will never leave him alone, for example. But the phrase actually comes from the habit that hens actually have, that when they have a young member or a member of their little brood, that if one of the hens has some tiny blemish on them, all of the other hens will surround this hen like a pincer movement, and they'll start pecking they'll start pecking at this little black spot on their nose or whatever it is. But we use these things. But there are so many people who are saying, to live the life of your dreams, you have to stand out from the crowd. But they are literally, no joke, because I'm on Twitter every single day interacting with and observing all of this stuff. There are people talking about individuality who are literally copying and pasting other people's content and expecting to stand out. And again, it sounds really judgmental, but what you realize is that most of what you look at, whether it's on or offline, is a pantomime of people being given lines, but they don't actually know what they mean. And more importantly, they don't live by the sacred principles of personal responsibility. They don't live by the principle of integrity or speaking truthfully. And these things have always been, I think we are programmed to be in the pack. But when something really matters, if you've got a really important message to share, it's really vital, absolutely vital, to stand by your principles, and even more importantly, not to just talk about them, but to actually do them. And in speaking truths and living with integrity, you will be amazed at how much more confident you become. And when I first started engaging with people on Twitter, I will admit that I actually felt quite nervous. I don't really know where it comes from. I think maybe it is just programmed into us, and maybe it goes back all the way to our inception. But the more that I did it, and if I pointed out the logical inconsistency of what somebody had said, once I'd made my reply saying, yeah, this doesn't really work, the more that I did that, the more I actually spoke the truth. And we're not talking about a big deal here. Do you know what? The better and more confident and more purposeful I felt, and I feel now. And it makes you far more determined to succeed, because you actually get to realize when you speak the truth that absolutely anything, if you really want it, absolutely anything is possible.